It's already like loosen all these bolts, so like it should just be able to like
pull out,
come apart pretty easily. This is not as easy as I thought it was going to be. On today's episode at the Pre-Runner Farm, we are going to be installing a TE Designs skid plate and mount on a Harbor Freight jack. It's a really cool setup. It's spring loaded, so you have quick in and out. You know, you need to get to a spare tire real quick, and it's cool and it holds in, and it can get welded in the car, it can get bolted into the car. There's a bunch of different ways to do it. So I'd say we start by disassembling the jack, putting it in the aluminum tray. We'll have to do a little bit of welding here on the corners of the steel frame, and then we'll weld the chingus into the frame. Fancy formal word, chingus. So front wheels came off, and the back wheels are now in process of coming off. Do this side. Hopefully the jack stays together when I do all this. It's taking a lot of crucial components out. Like there's like no instructions with this, so like I'm kind of winging it. I'm assuming this is how you do it. I'm not a professional jack installer, but the back spring chinguses just came loose, so hopefully we can figure that out. Oh, all right, a lot of things just happened. I just took out way too many bolts from the side of this, and the whole thing kind of just came apart. So we can leave this one in. So I put that back together, and so now we need to get these other two bolts in and key this thing back in. So we should be good now. Being aluminum, still not light. Okay, so now it's in the skid. So now we got some holes here, and those are the holes that we need to line up and get our other bolts into. So I had to oval out the hole a little bit to get it in there because the aluminum, the way it was cut, was just a little bit tight. But now we're ready to put the spacers on the front. So these are the spacers that are for the front wheels. And so then we're just gonna put the nuts on there. I'm sure we could put like a rod. You could probably slim this down. And now officially our jack has a skid plate on it. So now this prevents us from getting it buried deep in the sand. It gives you a large footprint so that you can use it to jack up once you get a flat tire, get unstuck. You can use it for all kinds of things. So the one thing I did notice, we do have to drill a hole here and here because there's a bar that goes across the bottom of the jack. You could probably do without it, but the hole's already there, so we might as well use it. And then we're ready to get onto the skid plate portion, the skid plate mount, and we'll go from there. This is the part of the jack that went across the bottom here, was actually right here. So I had to drill a new hole, you can see right a little bit below it. And so then I just have to put this part back in. Now we're going to work on the mount part. So we're gonna do some welding. We're gonna weld this. We're gonna weld the backside right here, and then the spring-loaded chingus gets welded in here. I'm just gonna weld it up. So on the spring-loaded chingus, we're gonna take the metal body part of it off so we don't mess up any of the handle, because if you go welding on it, this is plastic, you probably melt the plastic and just mess it all up. So we're just gonna take our little magnets, our little 90-degree magnets. I'm just gonna put a couple like little welds on it. It doesn't need to be like fully welded. It should be fine. Now we're done. For the most part, we're just gonna let it cool down, and then we'll put the spring-loaded chingus back together, and now we have a skid plate and a jack that slides into it. So the other thing that we hadn't mentioned yet is the skid plate actually came with tabs. So these tabs are meant to go out here. So if you wanted to bolt it to something, if you want to bolt the mount to something, we're actually just going to weld it in place because we don't need it coming out, but you can actually You could adjust these, you can put these wherever it's gonna be convenient, whether it's a side of a tube or what have you, and just put some welds on there, good to go. Sick. Okay, all right, so now we can finally test out our spring-loaded chingus. Yeah, so there's a lip right here that the skid plate actually goes up and under. And so when you want to install the jack, you're just going to want to pick up on it, slide it in under that lip. So right now it's under the lip, and then pull your spring-loaded chingus. Boom, done. So now on, when we want to, and it's like in there, it's like not going anywhere. It's really nice. So now when we want to take our jack out, just pull the handle, slip the jack out. Done. Wasn't so bad. We hit a couple little complications, but with anything that's folded like this, nothing's ever perfect. So we made it through, got it done, and so now we're gonna mount it in Brett's Super Crew because neither of us have a jack, and so he's gonna take the bullet on that one, and he's gonna be the one carrying the jack for us both. Well, suck it on later. Thanks for watching. Comment, like, subscribe. If there's anything you guys want to see, drop it in the comments. Top. Is it in? Yeah. Should be. Ethan, He-Man, Hercules the door over itself, but we got it. He's strong for a young kid.
Sorry. Strongest kid alive.